Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Pocketnow.com, and this is our full review of the Samsung Focus 2. Let's get to it. The first Samsung Focus was among the first Windows Phone devices, and it turned out to be one of the best. Based on the Galaxy S, the Focus had a beautiful Super AMOLED display, a zippy 1 GHz Snapdragon CPU, and a thin and light form factor. About 2 years later, AT&T and Samsung bring us the Focus 2. While not based on the Galaxy S3 or even the Galaxy S2, the Focus 2 is an evolutionary bump that improves upon almost every aspect of the original Focus, plus it's only $50 on a new 2-year contract. Unchanged is the display. It's the same 4-inch WVGA, which is 800 down by 480 across, Super AMOLED display, which is of the pentile variety, unfortunately. Powering the device is a higher clocked 1.4 GHz single-core Qualcomm Snapdragon CPU with the same 512 MB of RAM. A front-facing VGA camera has been added, while the camera on the back remains unchanged at 5 megapixels. The battery on the Focus 2 is larger than the original Focus by 250 mAh to make for 1750 mAh. Unfortunately, there's only 8 GB of storage included on the Focus 2, of which 6.6 GB are user accessible and you can't add to it. Finally, the Focus 2 is an LTE-capable device, and while AT&T's LTE network is still in its infancy, their HSBA Plus fallback network is still quite fast. So with the Focus 2, you're likely to have fast internet no matter where you are. In terms of hardware, the Focus 2 looks a little bit like a toy thanks to its shiny white coating. It also feels a bit cheap or perhaps light in hand thanks to the casing being made from entirely plastic. The Focus 2 is rounded around the corners and on all sides, giving it a more natural in-hand feel than the more angular Focus. That said, despite being comfortable in hand, it's also very slippery thanks to the smooth surface that surrounds the entire device. Here at the top, we have the front-facing camera, the light sensor, and the proximity sensor. Below the display are the typical Windows Phone buttons, which are backlit, but unfortunately they have a pretty muddy look when illuminated, as you can see here. On the back, we can see that the chrome strip that begins on the sides extends all the way to the top of the phone, which is a nice touch. Up at the top is the 5 megapixel camera with the flash, and the speakerphone, which we found to be plenty loud. Now onto the screen. We've come to know Samsung Super AMOLED panels pretty well. They provide fantastic contrast, low power consumption, and decent outdoor screen visibility, but sometimes poor viewing angles. As you can see here, tilting the phone to the side gives screen content a greenish tint. Another gripe we had about the Focus 2's screen is the automatic backlight adjustment, which changed too easily and didn't fade, making for kind of a jarring look. Finally, the Focus 2's display has a pentile sub-pixel configuration, making text and images appear to be grainy, especially if you look close up. The Focus 2 is running the latest Windows Phone 7.5 Mango software and, coupled with a quick 1.4 GHz CPU, makes for a very smooth and fluid experience. Windows Phone is already a very responsive operating system, but the Focus 2 is noticeably faster than the original Focus, as it should be. Let's take a look at some of the built-in programs, most of which are bloatware from AT&T, such as AT&T Code Scanner, Family Navigator, and others, most of which require you to pay a fee after a trial period. Fortunately, all of these apps can be easily removed should you want to clean up your program list. Let's take a look at web browsing performance. We'll load up Pocketnow first. Page loading times are, for the most part, above average when compared to other smartphones. However, when you start browsing a graphically intense page, like we're doing here, the Focus 2 can sputter when trying to reflow text columns or zoom in on various parts of the screen. Oftentimes we saw white space as the browser tried to keep up with our scrolling. Overall, web browsing performance was good but not amazing. Now we tested the Focus 2 over AT&T's HSBA Plus network, though it'll work on LTE if it's available in your market. On HSBA Plus, we clocked decent download speeds of about 124 megabits per second down and about 1.5 megabits per second up, which is about average. Now, some test notes. Battery life on the Focus 2, thanks to its larger battery and small screen, was above average. With moderate use, expect to get 2 days of use from the Focus 2. With heavy use, you'll get through an entire day. Of course, your results will be slightly worse if you're using the phone over LTE. Another test note, We grew tired of the shiny coating on the Focus 2. After many hours of use, it would become extra slippery from natural hand oils. And while we didn't drop the Focus 2 during testing, we imagine that doing so will leave the device permanently scratched. You'll definitely want to seek out a case if you're getting this phone. Finally, we weren't exactly impressed with the camera on the Focus 2 and found it to be actually worse than the original Focus. Photos came out oversaturated, macro shots were soft, and low-light photos were a bit noisy. Videos shot in 720p had similar characteristics. Phone calls were clear on the Focus 2. It has a secondary microphone with noise cancellation, which is useful on a windy day. Cellular reception was also quite good and perhaps a bit above average. On AT&T, you have two other very good choices if you want a Windows phone. The Lumia 900, priced at the mid-range level of about $100, has won acclaim for its fantastic hardware, plus it has a bigger screen. If screen size is very important to you, the Titan 2, with its 4.7-inch display, might be your best option for a Windows phone, but it's much more expensive at $200. So here's what we like and what we don't like about the Focus 2. We like that it's only $50, making Windows Phone accessible to more people. We like that it has a fast and fluid interface, helped by a speedy CPU. And finally, we like that it has LTE for super fast internet if it's available in your area. What we don't like is that the case is made from plastic entirely and it's slippery. We also didn't like that the display was pen tile and it had poor viewing angles. And finally, 8 GB of storage is just not enough for a smartphone, especially if you cannot expand it. In conclusion, the Focus 2 is a fast and capable LTE Windows phone, but falls short with taking photos and with providing a premium hardware experience, plus enough storage space to really get you through a lot of apps and a lot of music and other multimedia downloads. It's priced right at $50 to allow new people to experience Windows Phone, so we give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and thanks for watching. That's it for now.